Hello, everyone. Darkovika here, and welcome back to this face camless series where I play a game that absolutely no one is looking for. I think that's a theme on my channel now. I'm just going to make that the theme. Things nobody asked for, but except for me, that I want to do because it makes me happy. So, Purple Popped Pen went ahead and said Sanan, and I'm sold. So we're gonna go for Sanan because honestly, I'm actually curious to know how a romance with him is going to go because I know the original story. So I am very interested to see how this goes. So we're going to go with find a way to escape. For those who don't remember, in the previous episode, our lovely young girl, Sakura, oh my god, I almost said Kinamoto. I can't, it's just automatic. Yukimura basically has found herself in a very difficult situation where A, everyone thinks she's a boy, which, fair, considering she's walking around in boys' clothes. But B, they're also considering how or why or if they should kill her. And, we can pretty much assume that Hijikata knows that she's a girl. That's Hijikata is the best out of everybody, so he already knows everything. Except he's not sexist, so he's like, girl or no, you're gonna die, probably. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive in. We are going to do Find a Way to Escape. Wait, what? I feel like it skipped. Did it skip? Oh, it did. Okay. I chose Find a Way to Escape. It said there was nothing for it. I had to try to escape, meaning I needed to get moving immediately. Staying in this room did nothing to help me. Fortunately, they hadn't bothered to tie me up completely again. Only my hands were bound. That would slow me down, certainly, but so long as I could move my legs, I stood a chance. This decision is quite stupid because, my dear child, we're in a compound for an entire force of samurai. I don't think we're gonna get very far, but that's what we're supposed to choose. All right, now the exit is... I cast my memory back to when they'd brought me into the building the night before. Right, I'm sure it'll work out. No, I stood up. Holding my breath, I edged toward the door. I knew it was rude. I'm sorry, I know that's a Japanese thing, but... I knew it was rude to try to escape with my life without telling anyone. Oh, okay, maybe she's referring to the fact that she's opening the door with her toe. I had no choice but to try and open the sliding door with my toe. I still think this is not the time to be worrying about rudeness, but I was almost there when suddenly it flew open all on its own, revealing... What? Ah! I stumbled straight into Kondo. Oh my, well that was rather bold. You were looking to escape, I assume. This is our boy, Sanan. Attempting to escape was unwise. It will only make your situation more difficult. His voice was calm and not unfriendly, but his eyes were frigid and calculating. Too late, I realized why they hadn't bothered to tie me up again. They'd been watching me. I told you once, and I won't do it again. Run and I'll gut you. Sorry, but now we've got to kill you. We can't trust a kid who can't keep a promise. Okita smiled. He didn't look very sorry. I stayed where I was. I was innocent, but complaining wasn't going to help me. Perhaps it would be best if I simply accepted my death. Then you may do whatever you like with me. Okita roared with laughter, his shoulders shaking. The anger in my voice proved unaffecting to them. Oh! That's new. That's not what it looked like in previous games. Oh, you're a funny one. Alright, maybe we were a little rough on you. So just relax, okay? We aren't going to eat you or anything. What do you want? You were just talking about killing me. Never. Oh, hey! Okita figured it out. Never seen such an innocent girl like you. Huh? A girl? You knew I was a girl? What? Soji, are you telling me this girl or this child is a girl? Calm down, Kondo. Really? Huh. I was sure all of you caught on. Maybe not Kondo, but... Don't tell me you knew all along, Sanan. Well, yes, she's doing her best to dress up like a boy, but it's so obvious that she's a girl. All right. Now, tell your big brother. Why were you cross-dressing around Kyoto? Okita. Sanan shrugged and let out a loud sigh. Maybe we should all sit down and talk this over. Some of us may have changed their opinions. So they must have all maybe come to the conclusion that I was a girl, except they didn't tell Kondo because he doesn't deserve to know. There I was, surrounded once again by the leaders of the Shinsengumi. They literally just tossed me to a room just to see what I would do and then brought me back. That's kind of funny. I noticed you were rather slim, and your features were far too soft to be a man's, but to think you were a lady this whole time. Kondo was nodding his head repeatedly, as if he were agreeing with a very intelligent suggestion. For him to notice the softness of my features, it flattered me a bit. It's him. Once you know she's a girl, she really doesn't look like a boy at all, does she? So we bound her and left her for the whole night? Oh dear. Well, she claims to be a girl, but it's not like we have any actual proof, right? Proof? Proof? Really? Not obvious enough for you, huh? Alright, will you feel better if I strip her down? No, you will absolutely not! To suggest such a thing is preposterous! I just figured it was the quickest way to settle a question, but I won't force it. Well, if you really are a girl, then killing you would just feel kinda wrong. I gave him that voice and I found out that he is in fact a dating option, so, that's just what it is. That's life now. Why are you so naive? It doesn't matter. If we have to kill her, she dies. Exactly. However, her gender is irrelevant. Killing, in general, is wrong. We were organized to protect the citizens of Kyoto. We literally just met in this room just to scare the crap out of her because we thought it was very funny. We could ill serve the public good by murdering civilians in cold blood. Yeah, but if this girl or boy is a threat to the peace, that's a horse of a different color. The Shinsengumi had already suffered a very gruesome reputation in Kyoto. If rumors spread that their men were thirsty for blood, things weren't likely to go well for them. Kyoto would banish them, and with no one to protect the people, the city would erupt into chaos. Each of their members deeply understood the consequences of behaving rashly in these times. Excuse me. My apologies, but I took the liberty of checking through your belongings. It would appear you came all the way from Edo. By yourself. You didn't seem to have much. Some clothing, some pocket change, a few letters, and this sword. One of the letters was from Ryojun Matsumoto, a shogunate-approved doctor. I assume you saw him. What is your purpose, Sakura Yukimura? I almost said Kinomoto again. The minute my name was spoken, the vibe in the room shifted immensely. Everyone wore a stunned expression, eyes wide, and no words were uttered in response, until... Wait, Hijikata, that name! Hey now, this can't be a coincidence. Now, wait a moment. We only need to determine if you are a threat. Will you tell us your side of the story? At Kondo's behest, I stood up to speak. My name is Sakura Yukimura. Under the watchful eyes of the leaders, I sharply described how I came to face them. How does one do that sharply? How I lived in Edo. How I'd come to Kyoto to find my father. How lonely the city... This is absolutely required. This right here, yep. I was very alone in the city and had no one to go to. It's required factual evidence. Oh, then you're from Edo as well. And you came all the way to Kyoto to find your father? So, who is your father? My father is Kodo Yukimura. So, the dots are connected. What are you talking about? The handwriting within the letter does indeed match Kodo's, but to think you were Dr. Kodo's daughter. You knew my father? Excuse me. The silence was enough to tell me that the revelation of my parentage caused a pronounced change in their behavior. So, you've been withholding information from us. Huh? What information are you talking about? There's no point in lying to us now. Out with it. What the hell are you doing in Kyoto? I just came to look for my father. I swear I don't know anything else. You came to this city fully aware of what your father, Kodo, is doing. I was only aware of my father being in Kyoto for his medical work, but I haven't seen him since last summer. That's all I know. Hijikata, it may be better for us not to press because she may not know anything after all. So what do you know about my father? Where is he right now? Please tell me. The Shinsengumi are currently attempting to determine the whereabouts of Dr. Kodo Yukimura. You're after my father? So this means... Oh no, you've got us all wrong. We're not, after him. I see. A huge wave of relief came over me. He's a fellow supporter of the Shogun, but, well, he sort of disappeared a little while ago. There's a reasonable chance that did Saito say the last thing? He might have. That the enemies of the Shogun have identified him as a threat. I let out an audible gasp, but Saito continued without paying me any mind. There is, of course, the chance he's still alive. Doctors skilled in Western medicine are quite rare. I wasn't sure what else to do, so I nodded. My heart pounded in my chest, threatening to burst onto the floor. Kondo, what do you make of her situation? Would it be in our interest to help her, seeing as we are all looking for the same person? What exactly do you mean, to help her? I only mean to say we should cooperate with her until we find Kondo. Oops, excuse me. I'm trying to find a better way to do this without... Okay, not what I wanted. Clicking. Okay. With her assistance, I'm sure our chances of locating Kodo will increase drastically. Huh? Looking for him may prove fruitless, however. If he's in disguise, spotting him will be difficult. You are his daughter, however. You ought to recognize him no matter how he may have disguised himself, yes? Yes, of course. I nodded as I spoke, while giving him what I hoped seemed like a steady, reassuring smile. Besides, having her stay with us, regardless, can be of use to our headquarters. What do you say, Toshi? Sanan is making a lot of sense. If it turns out that she doesn't know anything after all, then... It's true! All I know is that my father headed to Kyoto, but I don't know anything else. And about last night, I didn't see anything. Well, if she is his daughter, we can't really kill her, can we? His eyes narrowed as he looked down at me. If you promise to keep last night a secret, we'll let you stay until your father is found. Fair? I promise that the Shinsengumi will do whatever they can to help you find Dr. Kodo. Thank you so much. I have a bad habit of clicking before I've finished reading something because it helps me keep the flow between sentences. I was editing my previous video and I was like, wow, I click really early to get to the next sentence so that the conversation stays flowed. So I hope that doesn't annoy you guys. If it does, please let me know in the comments below, and assuming I don't record too many of these tonight, I will fix it or try to become more conscientious of it. I'm gonna try that now anyways, because I just realized I did it. And I was like, oh shoot, that was something that I wanted to fix. But anyways, let's continue. She's thanking them. I'd never imagined something like this. I was elated to have escaped death, but not only had I survived, I'd found my first decent lead. Excuse me. You must be glad we won't be killing you, huh? Well, won't be killing you just yet, at any rate. He gave me that same wolfish grin. There was no denying that my situation was still less than desirable, but it didn't matter for now. Yes, I'm very glad. Against all odds, at last, I'd found help where I'd never have expected to find it. The Shinsengumi. My first day in Kyoto was quite the adventure. In spite of everything I'd seen, my fortune was improving with every step. I still had a long way to go, but keeping positive was my only hope. Aren't you relieved, Yukimura? It's a pleasure to have you. Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure for me as well. Is it? Again, with her being a lady, after all, I'm not sure that our all-male household is equipped for her needs. You bring up a good point. What would you have me do? Kondo crossed his arms and thought deeply. Should you require anything, you need only ask. We will do what we can to accommodate you. Thank you. I guess... hang on. My tongue got tied. Well, I guess we'll have to be nicer to you now that we know you're a girl. Gee, didn't take long for you to change your tune when you saw she was a girl, eh, Sheen? Whatever. Having a girl here at headquarters is sure gonna brighten things up, won't it? The headquarters of the Shinsengumi was located in the Mibu area, and it was where members lived and took their meals. I wasn't entirely sure I believed that sentiment. I'm not sure if our headquarters are, up to standards for a lady, however. But then again, she's not a soldier, so we cannot expect to treat her as much. Then make her a page or something. Want an assistant, Kondo? How about you, Sanan? An assistant to a samurai or noble, traditionally a young man. Oh, come on now, Hijikata. It's your idea, so you can't just pawn her off on someone else. Ah, excellent. We can trust Toshi with her. Well, there you have it, Hijikata. I hope you'll take good care of her. You sons of... you sons of bitches. You can't just decide... As I watched their back and forth, some of my earlier relief began to ebb away. And this is how the Shinsengumi had come to look after me. And there you have it. We are in it. In it to win it. We have started this journey for better or for worse. February 1864. This is going to be very exciting. I'm very excited. I'm ready for the emotional roller coaster that this game presents. Mid-February 1864, I slid the door open and met a breath of cool morning air. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusually strong wind driving them along. Excuse me. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I'd begun living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. I was given a room of my own, but they made it clear that I wasn't to roam freely. They weren't the best accommodations, but given how close I was to being murdered by them, instead, I thought it best not to complain. Still, do I really need to dress like this all the time? I did it again. I sighed, staring at my feet on the cold floor. They'd given me temporary accommodations, but it wasn't without its strict conditions. The Shinsengumi will look after you, but we do not allow women to simply wander our doors. The Shinsengumi keeping a woman here. If such rumors were to spread, tongues would begin to wag. Even worse, it may invite guests who are also searching for Kyoto to come here, looking for you. It is still up to speculation, however, whether or not he has been taken or attacked. So many unanswered questions hovering about. All the more reason to keep recklessness at a low. In other words, you need to keep this facade as a man. Do I make myself clear? Clear. His reasoning was sound. Perhaps more than that, I knew he was concerned not only for the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice regardless, but keeping this in mind made his orders more palatable. I don't expect this to be an issue, but having a woman around could disrupt morale, so to speak. For that reason, only we, the Shinsengumi's leadership, will know the truth of your situation. It is imperative for us to keep this under wraps, for there is no telling what becomes of rumors. I understand the situation. So, what should I do while I'm here? Nothing. You're gonna get a room, and you're gonna stay in it. Really? I could have sworn we decided she was going to be someone's page. Soji, keep your tongue in your mouth, or I'll cut the fucking thing off. Forgot that Hijikata swears like a sailor. Before long, I'd been here for a week. I guess I don't have much of a choice. No sense in dwelling on what I can't do, after all. Although it was still a new sensation, I'd grown comfortable in dressing like a boy, particularly the feeling of wearing pants. I straightened up and touched the kodachi that Hijikata had given back to me. This was a familiar friend of mine, the blade by my hip stretching back as far as I can recall. According to my father, this was an important heirloom passed down through the Yukimura clan. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, making me well aware of what the blade was capable of. I had never cared for such weapons. Weapons hurt people, which is an obvious factor, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as far back as I could remember, any wounds I suffered healed at an incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. Ah, yes, I forgot about this. She has superpowers. As a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. My father insisted it was a gift of the gods, but that I should tell no one of it. I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they knew. Ever since then, I'd done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I developed a fear of them. My constant need for disguise was frustrating, but my condition left me more unsettled. Still, that wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank-and-file soldiers treated me coldly. I'm not just imagining it, right? I learned having a private room was a privilege, even for captains. For a child to arrive and receive better treatment than their own captains. No surprise, really, for the soldiers to hate me. True. I suppose I can't really blame them. I was enjoying the Shinsengumi's hospitality, and so I felt I should help them in some way, but I knew nothing of soldiers and their ways. I gave as much effort as possible, despite Hijikata's commands for me to remain in my room. How does one calm the lonely, restless mind? I think for the soldiers, whenever the captains or other officers would look out for me, it appeared as if they were giving me special treatment. They're just watching me. To make sure I kept my mouth shut, they took turns keeping watch over me. Any mistake on my part would cause huge trouble, so they were making an effort to keep me contained. Even if I could speak with the soldiers, what conversations could we share? Nothing? My only respite from any possibility of detection would be to stay alone. Again. All I wanted from this, though, was to find my father. Even though they'd promised to help me, keeping me locked here without the ability to leave was no better than being tied up. Just when it felt like I'd made some progress into my journey, my search was kept to a halt. Perhaps I thought I could talk to Hijikata, if he would give me permission to look for my father. Oh, no, that's right. Hijikata just recently departed to Osaka. Well, if Hijikata's not here, I wasn't sure what to do. Stay put is the correct answer. To be completely honest, staying in the room was awfully boring. No, considering your predicament, you need to follow Hijikata's orders, Sakura. I didn't want to cause a disturbance on top of what I'd done, which was totally accidental and not even our fault, but okay. The consequences would be, what am I doing here? A forlorn malaise wafted over me. The room was nice, of course, but also practically empty. I wasn't uncomfortable, I suppose, but not comfortable either, and nothing passed the time. Here I thought I'd gotten used to doing nothing. My father's business required him to take trips frequently, sometimes for days at a time, and so I'd spent a good deal of time home on my own. This isn't quite the same, though. Back then, I always knew he'd be back eventually. Waiting for someone you knew would return, and waiting for what you didn't quite know, are two very different things. When will I be able to start looking for father again, I wonder? My reflections all manifest into sighs eventually. Yukimura, I've been looking for you. I didn't think you'd be here. What? Where else am I supposed to go? Kondo smiled brilliantly at me as he stepped into the room, holding a tray in his hands. I'm sorry? I wasn't sure what to make of his words, so instead I silently bowed. Wait a moment, is this your room? For now, yes. Oh no, then I barged into a woman's room without announcing myself. Oh no, it's fine. After all, it isn't as though there's anything here I wouldn't want you to see. We decided you would be Toshi's page, so I'd assumed your room would be next to his. Hijikata had, of course, failed to tell Kondo that I had yet to be made a page. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't too hard to see what was going on. I'm not really prepared to entertain, but you're welcome to come in if you'd like. There's no need to worry. If I may, I'll take you up on your offer, and you needn't feel nervous around me. While you are here, you are a guest of the Shinsengumi. Then he placed the tray on the floor between us. This is... As I looked down at the tray, I could barely stifle a sudden squeal of excitement. You are a fan of sweets, I take it. I found some of these in the cupboard, so I brought them here for you. On the plate, he'd arranged several colorful candies and a cup of warm green tea. Wait, is he romanceable too? Am I not aware that Kondo is also romanceable? I didn't think he was. There are so many options. So, what do you think? If you'd like to have some, go ahead. No need to hold back. Thank you very much. I cautiously reached to take one of the candies. It's delicious. It had been a while since I had any sweets. Something about the small, colorful candy seemed so adorable that I couldn't help but smile. I didn't press anything, but I mean, I'll do it. I'll save while I can. I'm glad you liked them. Kondo possessed a warm presence that made me feel safe as he watched me eat. Oh yes, I've heard you haven't been allowed to go outside. It's true, but it seems better to know my place. Rushing things would only make more trouble. So, just as Hijikata suggested, I plan on waiting it out just a little more. I see. I'm glad you understand. I know Toshi seems a little rough on the edges, but I promise you he is a truly caring man. Hijikata? Caring? Wow, I had no idea. That's the option. Of course, though, Kondo is intimately familiar with him, I'm sure, so perhaps there's no way of knowing who this man really is. Wow, I had no idea. It's understandable. Those who do not know him often share a similar opinion. But Toshi may have his reasons as to why now is not the best time for you to leave the compound. You're bored, I know, but I have to ask you to hang on a little longer. Okay, I understand. He hadn't done much, to be honest, but Kondo's visit had cheered me up greatly. Of course, the conditions of staying in my room were left unchanged. However, the creature comforts of spending an afternoon drinking warm tea gave me some life. Thank God you're finding comfort in that, because I would lose my mind doing nothing. Time stood still, shadows drifting along my wall. I like this soundtrack. Ooh, this is nice. This is very pretty. How long am I going to do this? Solitude was proving detrimental to any glimmer of hope. My heart felt heavier with each moment. How lonely the wistful, forlorn mind can become. I'd been swept up in a frightening world I didn't understand and couldn't possibly control. I can't possibly figure out what's happening to Father if I'm stuck here. Only Hijikata can give me permission to leave, and he's gone. All I could do was wait. Lamenting things I couldn't change wouldn't improve my situation, and would arguably make it worse. I knew I couldn't trust the men of the Shinsengumi completely. They were, after all, men who could take life in the blink of an eye. It would be just as easy for them to end my life. Well, at least they've all been nice to me, for now. They're nice men deep down, right? Does anyone ever call you gullible? Ah! What are you doing here? Oh, you didn't notice me? Well, it's my turn to keep watch. Did you hear everything I said? He'd heard me. He had definitely heard me. I wanted to scream, but before I could open my mouth, Saito stepped out from behind the door. I think that's enough fraternizing, Soji. Wait, were you here the whole time too? I arrived only moments ago. Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry for screaming like that. Excuse me. It's nothing. And at any rate, it's not as if you said anything that would cause trouble for you. Huh? True, I didn't say anything, bad. But still, I'm not trying to quick load. What do you think I'm clicking? I'm not clicking anything. What does it do? I don't understand. Is it because I'm accidentally clicking both? I have no idea. Well, it was just... What? I was just embarrassed to be caught, talking to myself. As Saito watched me fidgeting and mumbling, his eyes pierced right through me. I came to tell you that dinner is ready, but have I interrupted something? Oh, no, nothing at all. I had intended to wait until you and Soji finished your discussion, but I figured if I left the two of you alone, it would be longer before I saw either of you, so I came in. Saito shrugged shortly before we caught the sound of footsteps approaching us noisily. Heisuke shot through the door. The moment he saw us, however, his face fell. Hey guys, dinner time! My apologies, Heisuke. I'll be there presently. Yeah, you too, Sakura. Hurry up or it's gonna be gone before you know it. Sorry, Toto. I'll be there as soon as I can. Toto? Sounds like I'm saying Toto, like from Wizard of Oz. I know I'm getting that wrong. I'm trying. He turned to leave, but he halted in his tracks. He pursed his small lips together before speaking. Look, can you drop the whole Toto thing? Just call me Heisuke. Everybody else does. Are you sure? Yeah, why not? We're practically the same age. Oh, and we don't need to use honorifics. All right, I'll do that then, Heisuke. Great. Sounds better already. Shall we go? Aw, good old Heisuke. You're late. You kids are late. Who's gonna answer to my crying stomach? You mean growling, Sheen? Really, he's so simple sometimes. You guys ought to apologize to my stomach. He wanted to dig in, but I said, no, we've gotta wait for him. This voice was a mistake. You're such a softie, Sheen. Alright guys, it's time to eat, and that means every man for himself. He has like a kind of surfer voice, and then I just gave Shinpachi dude voice. Man, there's barely enough here to feed a kid, let alone a man. So I'll just have to take yours. Survival of the fittest. This food is mine. Just took Heisuke's food. Hey, why do you always steal my food? It's because of the difference in size, kid. I got a bigger body. That means I need more food. Poor Sakura just kind of chilling in the corner. Well, I'm growing, old man, so I gotta eat more too. Sorry you had to see this, Sakura. They're always like this. I've, gotten used to it. How are we to deal with accepting such insanity? Oh, why aren't you taking anything? Yeah, I'm good. If I eat too much, I slow down. Hey, what do you mean, slow? Whatever, I'm taking that. Go for it. So long as I got a little sake to sip, I'm good. I don't know why that sentence killed me. Hang on, I'm also struggling with keeping up with who's actually talking and doing the voices, so, just bear with me. I can feel it. They're gonna mess up. Sounds like I'm going with sake, too. Try not to worry about eating too much or being a freeloader or something, Sakura. Just eat your little heart out, okay? I know. I can't help but feel a little bad, though. Well, if you let that get to you, you're gonna lose. You have to protect what's yours. Okay. It's talking about food. Always eating alone made the experience of dinner with these men both an exhilarating and a frightening evening for me. It was actually fun. See, there's that smile. You ought to do that more often. We aren't gonna hurt you. Harada. His mouth curled up into an honest smile of his own. Had I really looked so down? Perhaps they were all trying to cheer me up. I wasn't quite sure how to feel. I was conflicted over whether or not to feel pity for myself or to appreciate the moment for what it was. The joy seemed to be winning out, however, and I caught myself smiling as Inoue entered the room. Gentlemen, do you have a moment? As usual, his voice was warm, but in his eyes was a level of solemnity I'd never seen before, at least during our brief acquaintance thus far. The warmth of the room slowly evaporated. I've just received word from Osaka. Sanan has been gravely injured in battle. What? What happened? A dry goods store in Osaka was invaded by a group of Ronin. Toshi and Sanan arrived in time to enter the fray and subdue the Ronin, however. Sanan was stabbed during the encounter. Is he going to be all right? According to the letter, he is gravely hurt, but the wound is on his left arm. It will be hard for him to wield a blade, but he will almost certainly survive. Oh, thank goodness. I exhaled a brief sigh of relief, but the rest of the room was tense, still itching for answers. He should be returning here in a few days. Now please excuse me. I must speak with Kondo. He turned as he spoke, his last words delivered over his shoulder, and was gone. It was Saito who soon broke the awkward silence. An injury so grave, he cannot clutch his sword. Perhaps if the wound severed an artery. To wield a blade with one arm is a disservice. He may never carry a blade again if it's true. Oh, at last I understood. Fighting with a single hand would mean less strength behind his blows. Against an opponent of similar skill, he would almost certainly lose. If push comes to shove, he'll have to take it. I don't think Sanan's just going to give up. Don't jinx him, Soji. It's gonna look bad if officers start joining the Furies. Huh? Wait, that didn't make any sense. What are the Furies? Oh, so Furies come from something you drink, where any injuries can be cured. Heisuke! I'm not quick loading. Huh? Before I could move, Harada was on his feet and halfway across the room. I barely had time to gasp before he drove his fist into Heisuke. Ow! Heisuke, are you alright? Sano, you're wait a minute. Nope, that's him. Sano, you're overreacting. That was my bad, Heisuke. I slipped first. You alright? Sorry. After a moment, Harada curtly nodded to Heisuke in apology, the latter offering a quick, pained smile. Nah, I should have been watching what I said. Still, Sano, you didn't have to hit me. His punch had enough force to knock out a lesser man, but Heisuke seemed unfazed. It was clearer now how different these men were. Sakura, everything you just heard is something you are never to repeat. I'm sure you're curious, but we can't tell you anything else, so don't ask. And forget what you just heard from Heisuke. His voice was friendly, but his eyes gave his words a cold weight that made me feel uncomfortable. The Furies. These are creatures from which the Shinsengumi saved the protagonist. Okita takes pity on these poor souls. The Furies that Heisuke spoke about are men to be pitied. Okita's voice was flat, emotionless. A sudden chill of melancholy entered his eyes. I couldn't bring myself to say anything more. Thankfully, Nagakura broke the awkward silence. It's nothing you need to worry yourself about. You don't have to get all worked up. I was only a guest in their house, not a warrior of the Shinsengumi. The truth of the Shinsengumi's secrets were no business of mine, something I'd known. There was little value in that sentiment, however. Put it from your mind. Involving yourself in our affairs will only put you in greater danger. I bit my lip and kept silent. The wall between us was almost tangible, almost far too large an obstacle for me to defeat easily. Because, obviously, if I'm trapped in a place with a bunch of men that are clearly all ready to kill anybody at a moment's notice, I want to get closer. I finished my dinner in sad silence, excused myself, and returned to my room. I had a great deal to think about. Furies, huh? I wondered to myself if the Furies referred to the Rakshasa pictured in Buddhist texts. Though I wasn't well versed, I recalled reading a text about a man-eating demon god with that name. I have no idea where to start, from drinking the medicine to Captain becoming a fury. No, I wasn't supposed to think about those things. I was only going to get myself in trouble if I stuck my nose where it didn't belong, especially if you are talking out loud and you know that people are watching you. Don't do that because you are clearly letting them know that you didn't listen. Like, child, seeing or hearing the wrong thing could kill me. If I die, I'll have a hard time looking for my father. If I die, I'll have a hard time looking for my father. Wait, is that what that really said? Child, you'll have a no time looking for your father. You'll be dead. The Shinsengumi captains are keeping themselves hush around me, especially about the Furies. Are they doing it to protect me? Even if I dug around, I'm sure nothing good would come of it. With that in mind, I did my best to clear my head of the evening's events and slipped into my futon. I've noticed that there is quite a bit that's different about this from the original version that I played. Like, there's little things that are more, and then there's, like, her, like, considering stuff more. It's very interesting. I'm excited. All right, March 1864. It fast approached a month since I had begun living within the Shinsengumi headquarters. Hijikata and Sanan finally returned to the compound from their trip to Osaka. Is it Osaka or Osaka? I'm gonna go with Osaka. But spirits were low. Sanan's injury had unforeseen consequences from everyone in the organization. Day-to-day operations became hectic for a little while. His wounds seemed quite dire, and they drained whatever goodness in his nature he'd hoped to keep. Sanan would spend days holed up in his room, protected by a barrier of impenetrable silence. If he were to leave his room, a rare occasion now, he was often short-tempered and quickly retreated. Well, he's lost the thing that matters the most to a samurai, the ability to fight. Even though I, too, spent days in the exile of my room, he seemed to take it much differently. Sanan seemed trapped within a painful memory, each day bringing him closer to a gloomy twilight. I softly pondered what service I could offer to the Shinsengumi if I were not allowed to search for my father. I'm sure Hijikata is overwhelmed with whatever business he's dealing with, but I need to visit him. I realized with a tension so high that it's not better to have Hijikata... Wait, what? Oh, excuse me, that it's better to have Hijikata on my side rather than not. I crept around the hall looking for Hijikata, but he was nowhere to be seen. Would it be impolite to visit his room directly? As I paced around the hall in contemplation, an unknown warrior appeared before me. Oh, it's a new guy! I've been living in the Yagi residence for a month, but he was unfamiliar to me. And me! I don't know him. My current dilemma compelled me to approach him. Excuse me, have you seen Hijikata? The man turned to respond, and my eyes widened to scan his enormous frame before he spoke. And who might you be? Mind telling me what you're doing? I'm running out of voices to give people. I'm gonna make him British. No one in this game is British, okay? Let's be completely real. Everyone is Japanese. No one has an English accent. I'm running out of ideas. And who might you be? Mind telling me what you're doing here? Imagine that this is the Japanese equivalent of a posh, Victorian, non-existent English accent. Oh, I am... Well, it's a long story. Don't make me repeat myself. Answer me. I'm Sakura Yukimura. Ah, I recall hearing the commander recruited a young apprentice as his new page. Must be you. Yes. I wasn't aware they were telling people that I was an apprentice warrior at headquarters. However, my reputation was the last thing on my mind as I faced this man's pressuring gaze. I didn't appreciate the harsh scrutiny he seemed to impose, scanning me from head to toe. So why don't you start telling me about how you know the chief and commander? I hear you're from Edo, but what kind of tricks did you have up your sleeve to slide in here? I did no such thing. But judging by how defensive you became, it sounds like I'm right on target. Look, this isn't the place where someone without any worth on the battlefield or in the strategy room can waltz in without earning it. I'm going to ask you one more time. How did you get in with the chief and commander? Okay, I'm gonna work with that. I, Kanryusai Takeda, am asking you a question. What makes you think you can ignore me? I think I've given him the correct accent. Captain of the Shinsengumi's 5th Division. He has extensive knowledge on Koshu military service. Science, which led to his promotion to War Magistrate. He aims to be Kondo's close aide. He grew increasingly agitated, almost like a petulant child, because I refused to answer him. He reached his massive hand toward me as if to grab me, but then a voice stopped him. "Hey, Takeda, what the hell are you doing here?" When he recognized Hijikata's voice, he snapped his hand back to his side. Well, well, Commander Hijikata. I'm here on business with Chief Kondo. Is that so? I've heard nothing about this. He called me on special orders to assist him while Colonel Sanan is out of commission. However, as it appears, Chief Kondo is nowhere to be seen, so I will be on my way now. Takeda turned to take his leave, but then he slowed his step, leaving us with a few words. I clicked, I swear. Okay. As a side note, Commander Hijikata, are the rumors too true that you've welcomed this young blood as your page? Yes, but it is none of your concern to know more. Now forgive me, I'll refrain from pressing for details, as it seems to be out of my jurisdiction. I do, however, question your predisposition towards keeping those from your birthplace close to you. It seems I forget myself. Please, excuse me. Wow, okay, he is a jerk. Once Takeda exited the hall, I couldn't help but feel a rush of relief. Hey, Yukimura, don't be walking around the headquarters without permission. Yes, sir. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Your presence here is not common knowledge, and only those staying at Yagi residence know. The location of the first headquarters for the Shinsengumi. Be mindful of anyone who visits from Meikawa residence. Is that clear? Oh, I didn't do the thing. I didn't look at it. I mean, we can assume that it's just not where we are, right? Is there more to this? Oh, there is. Okay, is this alphabetical? I think it is. Okay, yeah, here it is. It was located right beside the Yagi residence, and it was the first ever headquarters used by the Shinsengumi. I thought the Yagi residence was the first ever. The location of the first headquarters. Ah, okay, so it's the location of the first headquarters, but Meikawa residence was the first ever. I don't understand. Okay, anyways, clear. I promise to be more careful going forward. So, may I ask who that man was? That man is the captain of the 5th Division. His name is Kanryusai Takeda. His swordsmanship is decent, but he is well read and possesses a cunning mind for military science. He's a tricky one, so be careful. Okay. Furthermore, if you have no business being out, then I expect you to stay put in your room. Hijikata attempted to dismiss me, having said what he felt was appropriate as a stern commander. Oh, my phone turned it off. Quietly return to my room. Understood. I guess I'm just not supposed to leave. I'm just supposed to stay here. Although I was able to finally see Hijikata, I didn't want to walk around and cause trouble. So, just as Hijikata ordered, I decided to return to my room. Well, that's that. 1864, June. June always makes me laugh when it's shortened because it's one letter away from being done. We went from March to June. April, May, we skipped 2 months. June 1864, the 4th year of the Bunkyu era became the Ganji Ganen, and the summer sweetly blossomed. Spring shed its blooming skin, giving birth to lush green trees facing the wide open sky. During one of these beautiful summer days, I finished cleaning after everyone ate breakfast, and Saito brought me to the hall to Hijikata. Commander, it's Saito. I've brought Yukimura. Come in. Saito responded by quietly opening the sliding doors, gesturing me to enter the room. Upon entering, I saw Hijikata, but also Okita, Nagakura, Harada, and Heisuke in the hall. It appeared that only the captains who were aware of my situation were present. I know you've been waiting for some time, but the time has finally come to let you out. Really? I could barely contain the excitement in my voice as soon as the words came out of his mouth. So, is it true there was a man in Fushimi that matched my father's profile? Castle town in the southern part of Kyoto. We're not sure if it's true or not. It was our intention to let you verify for us, considering his daughter would recognize him best. I nodded in response. For now, any information pertaining to my father was appreciated, so I was thankful. So, where is this man who supposedly looks like my father? Our initial reports outline a place called the Terada Inn in Fushimi. Saito is assigned to check. An inn located in Fushimi. It is often frequented by warriors of the Satsuma and Tosa domains. Saito is assigned. I wasn't sure if that meant I was to accompany Saito or if I would have to wait longer for him. Then Harada chimed in. But this doesn't necessarily mean Kodo is a guest of this inn. Yeah, Being sighted in Fushimi could just mean he was walking around the city of Kyoto. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. Exactly. So that's why I'm asking the three of you, Harada, Shinpachi, and Heisuke, to take her along on your rounds to assist her search for Kodo. All of us? Usually we split up and go on rounds separately. Hijikata didn't bother entertaining a response, instead looking towards me. Was he suggesting? These were the men who were responsible for dealing with me should I attempt to flee. Heisuke must have sensed this as well, so he made no attempt to push the issue any further. I understand what you're saying, but I don't like the fact that you're making us do all the babysitting. I thought you planned on patrolling as well, Hijikata. So for your own benefit, why don't you show your adorable page the ropes by having her with you? What the hell are you talking about? Aren't you the one who pushed her onto me? I'm not saying any of your... I'm not having any of your insolence today. She isn't my page. He's so sassy. Maybe, but all of the lower-ranking men are starting to believe it. There is, after all, a grain of truth in every lie, so why don't you give her a befitting job? As Okita and Hijikata bickered at one another, the mood of the room was locked in their tense words until Harada whispered to me. Well, Kyoto, as you've seen, isn't the safest place right now, so don't force yourself to leave. I mean, we all know what Kodo looks like too, so the risk doesn't have to be yours alone. I could look for my father in Fushimi, or join the patrol rounds assuming he's moved places, or stay here to keep safe from the outside, or accompany Hijikata as his page. There's a lot of options. What I'm supposed to do. Wow, I hate this. I hate these options. They're so meek. I guess we will stay behind at headquarters. Although my goal was to discover the whereabouts of my father, I wasn't completely sure that I was welcome to join the expedition, nor was safety assured. I appreciate your gesture, but I think I should stay behind today. Huh? Why? You're finally getting the chance to search for Kodo. True, but I have to understand my place here, and it's not sure, and I'm not sure. Hang on. And we're not sure he's there. More chances will come. Well, if you say so. It seems like your mind is made up and there's no convincing you, but the choice is yours. I'll just stay behind, I guess. Afterwards, the men deliberated before splitting off to their directives, I almost said to services, and I returned to my room. Perhaps I should have gone. Maybe it would have been better for me to take the risk and learn something, anything. I felt like an icy dagger was pressed into my chest, piercing my thin flesh with a cold blade. Are you regretting it? If you are, then you should have just gone with them. Okita, I'm not regretting it. I was so ashamed, so I couldn't bear to look into his eyes, but he smiled wryly before continuing while touching my chin. Oh really, you don't regret it at all? Not even if you knew that Hajime and I went out of our way to convince Hijikata? What? His revelation nearly took the air from my lungs. That was the last thing I expected him to say. Did I really waste their... No! Why? This makes me feel so guilty. Did I really waste their kind efforts throwing away their promise to get me out? I'm so sorry. You two worked so hard to convince him and It was actually Hajime that convinced Hijikata. I just stood behind him and nodded lightly. Even so, I'm sorry. When I see Saito later, I need to apologize and give my thanks to him. I can't believe I didn't realize from the start. I feel like I let them down. Should there be another opportunity, please give me another chance to join you. Okita hesitated a moment before responding, his green eyes focusing deeply into me. You may be able to accompany us, but you'd better keep that kodachi sheathed. We don't need any recklessness to hold us back. If there's any sign of you becoming an issue, I will not hesitate to put my blade through you. I understand. I nodded in a plaintive manner. Okita's thing is just constantly threatening us with death. That's basically his shtick. Straight to the very end. Okita said nothing else as he turned his back to me to exit towards the inner court. Wow. This route makes me feel like garbage. Well, we've made it to chapter 2, 1864, July. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached chapter 2. And also the end of this episode. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I know that this is sort of like a really random thing on my channel, but I did used to do visual novels. I did a couple on my channel before I lost the save files, and I always really enjoy. What is a warrior record? Like, I'm actually... Oh. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's what the warrior record is. How do I get more information? Apparently not at all. He's my favorite. I like the look of him. He looks so nice. He's a very interesting storyline. I'll put that out there. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Those of you who are watching this, I am, which I suppose is all that matters on YouTube. Am I right? All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.